Welcome, everyone. Today, we're diving deep into some truly profound wisdom from the third chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. We're going to explore this powerful idea of how to act with purpose, but without getting tangled up in the results.
So let's just jump right in with a pretty big question. Think about how we live our modern lives. Is the main goal just to work, make money, and satisfy our senses? Or is there something more to it all? Well, the Gita suggests there absolutely is.
First up, Lord Krishna really sets the stage by pointing out the problem, a life that's just lived on the surface, chasing after one fleeting pleasure after another. It's a pretty strong warning that really frames everything that's about to come.
Okay, listen closely to this. This is verse 16 from the third chapter. That's 3.16 in the original Sanskrit. Evam pravartidanam chakram nanovartyati yaya agayar indriyaramo mogamparta sajivati. Now, let's break down what that means.
That translation is, wow, it's a really stark warning, isn't it? The verse is saying that a life lived only for sense gratification is a life lived in vain. It talks about this sacred cycle of sacrifice, this idea that we're all part of a huge, interconnected cosmic system, and we have a duty to contribute to it. The verse says that ignoring this cosmic cycle is what leads to a completely meaningless existence.
So the really crucial point here is that this verse is directly taking aim at that superficial, materialistic lifestyle. It's a powerful reminder that human life isn't just about consuming things. It has a much higher purpose, self-realization. And these yajnas, or prescribed duties, they're designed to purify us and align our actions with a divine order, which, according to the Gita, is the true source of all prosperity, not just our own grinding and hustling.
Okay, now get ready for a really powerful contrast. After showing us the trap of a life lived for the senses, Krishna presents the ideal, the state of a self-realized person who has found total and complete fulfillment from within.
This is verse 3.17. Yes tvi atma rati eva shad, atma triptash cha manava, atmanye eva cha santushtas, tasya karyam na vidyate.
And that is followed immediately by verse 3.18. Naiva thasya kritinartho, na kritineha kashchina, na chasya sarvabhuteshu kashchid arthavyapashrayah. These two verses describe a state of complete inner freedom. I mean, can you imagine that? Being so fulfilled, so content within your own self that you're no longer bound by any external duties or obligations. You don't act because you have to, or to get something, or out of fear. You're just totally and completely free.
And this slide just lays out the two opposing ways of living so brilliantly. On the left, you've got the Indriyarama, the person who's always looking for pleasure from the outside world, from their senses. And because of that, they're bound and dependent. But then, on the right, you see the Atmarati, the one who finds joy within the self and is therefore free, pure, and completely independent. It's a world of difference. Okay, so this brings up a really good question, right? If the enlightened person has no duty, what about the rest of us? Are we just supposed to stop working? No, not at all. Verse 19 gives us the practical path forward.
Here is that crucial guidance in verse 3.19. Tasmad asakta satatam karyam karma samachara. Asakto hi acharan karma param abnoti purushaha. This right here, this is the core teaching for most of us on the spiritual path. The instruction is crystal clear. Do your work, perform your actions, but do it as a matter of duty, without being attached to what happens next. Don't do it for the praise or the money or for personal gain. That detachment, that's the key. Because the Gita promises that it's this very practice that ultimately leads you to the Supreme.
So how do we actually put this into practice? This slide breaks it down into 4 key steps that are so helpful. First, you reframe your work. See it as a duty. Second, and this is the really tough part, you have to act without being attached to the results. Third, remember you're not just working for yourself. You're working on behalf of a higher purpose, the Supreme. And finally, when you bring all of that together, you start making real, tangible progress toward the ultimate goal of life.
But wait a minute. Why is action so important? Even for someone who is enlightened. I mean, if they're already free, why not just, retire from the world? The next verse gives us an amazing historical example that answers that exact question.
This is verse 3.20. Karmanaiva hai samsiddhim Astitha janakadaya, lokasangraham evapi sampashyan kartumarhase.
So here, Lord Krishna gives Arjuna this incredible example from history. He brings up the famous philosopher King Janaka. Now, this was a man who was completely self-realized, yet he didn't abandon his duties as a king. He continued to act, not because he needed anything for himself, but to set the right example for his people, for the welfare and the education of everyone. This slide really just clarifies the whole motivation of an enlightened leader. It's got nothing to do with personal gain because they don't need anything. They act for what the Gita calls loka sangraham, which is this powerful idea of acting for the general welfare and guidance of the whole world. Their actions become a living teaching, a kind of template for the rest of us to follow for our own benefit. So, as we bring this to a close, let's really reflect on this final thought. Based on this timeless wisdom, how can we start to reframe our own responsibilities? How can we perform our daily jobs, our duties to our families, our roles in society, but do it without that desperate attachment, doing it instead as an offering for a greater good? Thank you so much for joining us for this explainer. Here at Gyan Kosh, we're a multilingual channel, and our whole mission is to share spiritual wisdom in English, Hindi, Marathi, Tamil, Gujarati, and Bengali, and we have more major languages coming very soon. Our goal is to bring you these timeless treasures of Sanatan Dharma in a way that's simple, clear, and really meaningful. You'll find daily videos on our channel covering everything from the Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita to the Mahabharata, Lalita Sahasranamam, Devathan Kurl, the stories of the great saints of Maharashtra and Bengal, and even the divine life of Adi Sankara, all of it available in multiple languages. If you're finding our content valuable, please subscribe to Gyan Kosh. That way you'll get notified about all of our daily videos. And please don't forget to like this and share it. Help us spread this divine knowledge with your family, your friends, and your whole community. Let's work together to keep the light of Sanatan Dharma shining bright.